So I would like to start by going through, discuss a little bit some of the text that or the two texts mainly that I sent you, I sent you at the handout. I hope you got it. And there's a lot of things going on here. Whoa, whoo, whoo, whoo. I've been like, the whole morning I was just sitting and translating all kind of interesting text, finding sources and translating them. Here's Esther, great, and Judy Joseph, who has a birthday. Sharon, that you see here, she sent me some interesting text from a rabbi, and I asked for the sources for them, and he actually gave the sources, which were really great. And so I looked up both sources, as you know, I sent to you. So I decided to work with the Maharal text today. It's a bit different than, I like the way the rabbi made it sound. I really connect with what he wrote, but I don't see it exactly in that text. And I've been looking at it very, very carefully. So we want to know, like, how to deal with this situation, how to protect ourselves, how to stay focused, how to do the spiritual work that Hashem wants from us at this time. Nobody has any doubt that the Geula is coming, the redemption is near. We just don't know how near. We don't know if it's going to come in Pesach in like 12 days, or if it's going to take another year or two with gradual progression of things to open us up. But basically, what I understand from the text in Maharal, he talks about nega. So the word nega in Hebrew, or magefa, nega, magefa is a similar kind of word, which negaim or magefa, an epidemic, or I don't even know how to say in English magefa, but it means a plague. This is what we're experiencing right now. And it's just like what was happening before going out of Egypt. So why do plagues come? And how do we deal with it? How do we prepare ourselves to get healed from this plague? So it's not just individually, but it's really globally. So if we individuals work on the message of how to heal ourselves from it, then B'ezrat Hashem, we'll be able to also engender healing on a global level, because each of us, we all count. We're all part of the whole. So with your permission, I'm going to go over the text a bit. So first of all, Maharal brings two psukim. One pasuk where it talks about the nega of tzara'at, the plague of what's actually not leprosy, but it's rather a plague that's more similar to psoriasis, just like it sounds in Hebrew, tzara'at, psoriasis. And so, what does it say there? It says, I sent you that text, and it is in Vayikra 13:9, and it says, if a man, and the word for man is Adam, has a plague of tzara'at, he shall be brought to the Kohen. And we know there are like some similarities between tzara'at and what we're currently experiencing. The main similarity being, by the way, skin and lungs are connected. Did you know that? In Chinese medicine, I think. Isn't that true? Skin and lung? Or am I wrong?
It's usually more like gut and skin.
Okay, so never mind about that. So
it's all connected though.
Okay, so in any case, the point is the main connection is the quarantine, the quarantine that the person who had tzara'at has to do, and what's happening now. My husband is still in quarantine until Thursday because he treated a patient who was tested positive. So please pray for Michal Chaim ben Nachaman, Chana Bracha bat Miriam, that we should all remain healthy, and also Netanel Shalom ben Chana Bracha, who lives in this house, that the three of us. And I would like to
Amen.
Dedicate this learning for that, because it's really very scary.
Can you write out your husband's name?
Yeah, okay. So
Thank you.
let's see. I have to just find a chat.
Can you say it again, please?
Yeah, I'm
Can you
writing it down also. Hey, rest you, Yehudit. Michael Chaim Ben Nechama Chana Bracha Bat Miriam. It's actually Miriam. Netanel Shalom Ben Chana Bracha. So I like to dedicate this that we should stay healthy and everyone else should stay healthy. And I also like to dedicate it to a refuah shlema for Eliezer Yehuda ben Chaya. And so, if we go back to the text that we were in the middle of, what does it say? If Adam, I go back. Nega tzarat ki tiye b'adam v'huva el hakohen. If Adam has a plague of tzarat, he shall be brought to the Kohen. Okay, so the plague is associated with Adam, with being an Adam, says Maharal, and the healing is associated with being basar, which is flesh in English. If a person's flesh on its skin, if a person's flesh has on its skin a plague and it heals, that's another pasuk. Further on in the same chapter, Perek Yud Gimel of Vayikra, pasuk Yud Chet, Ubasar ki yeh bo be'oro shchin v'nirpa. So if there's a plague on the basar, on the flesh of a person's skin, and he will be healed. So that's basically where Maharal takes us. And he says, the main thing is for healing is to move from being Adam to being basar, to move from being flesh to being, I'm sorry, I'm looking at who's coming and I got distracted. To move from being Adam to being basar, from being a person to being flesh. What do you think that means? And maybe some of you read the text that I sent you. I'm unmuting all and opening the floor to you. Manage participant, unmuting all. So I like to hear what you have to say. Okay, anybody? What do you think is the difference between being an Adam and being basar? And what does it tell us that we have to do?
Well, maybe as basar, we don't have free will, and we're subject to the laws of nature, like viruses, and that, yeah, I don't know. That was just the first thought.
Okay.
Well, I didn't see the text attached, but from what I know, an Adam is something much more higher. We have different ways to call a person, like Enosh also.
Yes.
I didn't know Basar, but Adam, I know it could also be an acronym for like Adam and David and Moshe.
Yeah, and Mashiach.
And Mashiach,
Yes.
which is like you behave in a higher way. And Basar, it's like if you behave like an animal, like like not you don't go a la teva, you just go like that, like if you were just a flesh, like a normal animal, which is obviously not with holiness, like without
But that is
kedusha.
strange. But based on that, we have a question. We have to get from Adam to Basar. That's the healing. The healing is to become Basar. So what does Maharal say? So I'm gonna, does anyone have it that want to read for us? Maybe Sharon, because since it's you who brought it to my attention.
Okay. Where am I
In
reading?
English. I sent that like as a handout to the.
Yes, I have it. But where am I reading from?
From the Maharal. Where it says,
on the bottom. On the bottom.
Well,
Therefore, regarding the plague that is healed, it writes basar, flesh. For when a person is lowly in his own eyes, a person of lack, then Hashem heals his lack. However, when a person is in his own eyes is not a person of lack, but rather ha'adam, the person, Although the meaning of the word Adam is dust and blood, which indicates lowliness, it doesn't indicate.
Stop for a second. Adam, right? Aleph stands for afar, which is dust, and dam means blood. So really the word Adam, like Hannah said before, there's a higher level for a person, enosh. But even Adam is a lowliness, it's not as lowly as basar. So even though it means dust and blood. Continue.
I just want to say that when I looked at Adam, I also thought of blood, but I thought of the Aleph there as actually the oneness, the unity of man with God.
Oh, that's beautiful. But here Maharal is using Adam and saying, when you're Adam, then you're vulnerable to get get the nega. That's what he's saying. We have to move from Adam to basar.
Basar.
And so
Healing.
even though there's a lot of great things about Adam, but there is what's lacking is the lack. There's a certain kind of shlemut, a perfection about Adam, his unity with God, all other perfections. But in order to be immune to plague, says Maharal, we have to have a lack. We have to be lacking. We cannot be so perfect and so great. Okay, so continue. So is that?
It almost sounds like homeopathy on a spiritual level, what you're saying.
How?
Well, you're saying to have that lack, and the homeopathy takes a piece of the disease itself and uses the energy of it to heal. So
Okay,
I hear something in that, what you're saying, like that the illness almost does the healing on a spiritual level, energetic. Okay, healing can only occur through lack. Therefore, in connection with healing, it states flesh, even more humble than Adam, as it is totally without personality. Do you want me to go on?
Okay, so in other words, let's just see if we need to explain a little bit before you go on. Okay, so basically, I kind of lost it a bit, but well, you want to just paraphrase what you just read so we make sure everybody's with us?
Well, I'm not sure, but I think what it's saying is that when a person feels a lack, then Hashem will heal the lack.
Yes.
But if a person doesn't feel a lack, then there can't really be a healing. It can only occur through a lack.
Exactly.
So that's the connection between healing and flesh.
Right, and this reminds me, before you go on, because it's a long text, what I once learned regarding the Pisces in last month's astrological sign, that the fish, they always swallow other fish by the mouth. That's like a biological thing. That's how it works. And that's a strange thing, because you would think that the tail would be more vulnerable to be swallowed, because the fish don't have eyes in the tail. I've said this many times because I think it's so amazing, and it's like really helping me in many ways. So some of you may have heard it before. I apologize. So in any case, so why is it that the fish are swallowed by the head and not by the tail? Why not by the tail, where they're supposedly more vulnerable? Because the fish are saying, they're saying, Hashem, I take care of my head. I can see. I'll protect my head, but the tail I cannot protect. Hashem, you protect it. And so the place that we're most vulnerable, that's where we get the most protection, because that's where the fish they're not being eaten by that tail, because Hashem says, okay, I'm going to take care of your tail because you can't. And you're taking care of your head, so you take care of your head. But like Hashem takes obviously a lot better care than we do. So that's why the place that's most vulnerable that we give over to Hashem, that's the place that gets the most protection. So it kind of ties in with what Maharal is saying. When we have a lack, then we can have healing, and Hashem will heal our lack. Okay, so
Can I say something?
yes,
I went
everyone can
into
say
a
something.
sorry.
Yes.
I went into a whole different direction, and what came up for me was lev basar, and the whole idea that, you know, of how this Saurus is forcing us to touch the love and prayer in our hearts, and, you know, humble us to take care of each other and do the right thing. That, like, when all else burns away, what's left? You know?
That's beautiful. And for sure, that's very true. I also was thinking about that. Like, we have to change the heart of stone to the lev basar, a heart of flesh. But it's connected. It's not so, I mean, it's connected, that vulnerability and that openness. But there's nothing as whole as a broken heart. Everybody knows the sentence. So it's the same kind of idea, that brokenness is what basar represent. That's what gives us the strength. That vulnerability and brokenness is what, when we open that up, we break ourselves, and like you said, the arrogance. And that's what he's going to say further on in the Maharal. So why don't you keep reading, Sharon? And thank you so much, Rivka. It's beautiful. And if you put on your camera a bit, that would be even more awesome. So we could see your beautiful face.
All right, I was eating. I can arrange something.
Okay, you may have to brush your hair. Okay, go ahead, Sharon. You're reading so beautiful. You really have like a radio voice.
Another explanation: when we lower ourselves, making ourselves small, and remove the name of importance, we also remove the plagues. For the
So that's
plagues
exactly
occur
what
from the
Rivka was saying. Stop. So that's exactly what Rivka was saying. When we take away that arrogance. Here you are. Wow, you look just like my sister Bina, actually, in this knot right now. I thought for a moment that was her coming up. And yeah, so when we humble ourselves, right, and we take away like being Adam, being somebody. It's a somebody. I'm Adam. I'm somebody. I have a title. I have a certain qualification. I have a job. I'm somebody. So all that is being broken down right now. Most people don't have a job right now. We're not so much somebody anymore. Like, everything is breaking. Like all our identity, and we are being humbled because we don't, we're so vulnerable, and we're being humbled. Okay, continue.
For the plagues occur from the aspect of being Adam. Adam is suitable for getting plagues. When the name Adam is removed from him and he considers himself only flesh, then the plagues associated with Adam will be removed from him. Thus it is written, if a man, Adam, has a plague of tzara'at, and likewise it is written, and with the plagues of the son of Adam in Shmuel,
and many other times, actually, sorry, 1 second, many other places I looked it up, do you have the word Adam together with the word plague, which is very interesting. Okay.
You need to know this matter very much, for a vessel receives impurity, but when the vessel breaks, the impurity flies away from it.
And stop here for a second. So that's the laws of tzara'at, or maybe not just tzara'at. And if a vessel receives purity, it can also be another kind of impurity, impurity of contact with death. When the vessel is whole, it can receive impurity, but when the vessel breaks, the impurity goes away. It can only keep the impurity as long as the vessel is whole. So it's about being broken. Being broken, the impurity cannot remain when we're broken.
Isn't
just
that
like a vessel. Yes?
Is that the process of when we have the SARS and you have to be isolated, and the Cohen is going to come and check you, you're kind of going to go through an introspection of yourself and remove your own impurity, so to speak, I guess.
Yeah, but more than that, it's also a really, really humbling experience, because
you're isolated.
Not only the isolation, like this is with the tzara'at, it was worse in some ways than today, because people that walk by, you would have to say, Anyone that walks by, impure, impure, don't come near me. I'm impure, I'm tameh, tameh. That is so embarrassing, I think. I mean, you're just totally breaking your ego when you say that. And that's the idea, right? Because someone who speaks negatively of other people usually comes from arrogance, that to say I'm one up, they're one down. And so that's why the healing and the purification from that is a complete, total humbling, but it's humbling enough to be like ousted and being in I can't say this word, I can say it in Hebrew, bidut, okay, quarantine, I don't know, I'm not saying it right. So in any case, it's really humbling. This is what happened to me on this Friday. My neighbor asked if she could borrow some double tape. So, because her mezuzah was falling down and she had to put it back up. So I looked in my drawers, I found a double tape, something usually only my husband would know where it was, but I found it. And then I put it outside on the table, and I told her it's outside on the table, you could take it. And then she called me and she said, I'm sorry, my husband said I should not take anything from your home. At the same time, the day before, the person who usually buys eggs from, I have organic chickens and I have organic chicken eggs. She emailed me and messaged me, I think it's not such a good idea. I get eggs from your house right now, eggs that you have handled. So even though, like, Baruch Hashem, we're healthy, and B'ezras Hashem, we should stay healthy. But because Ma's been quarantined and you don't know, so people are being super careful. I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. But the feeling is in some way like humbling, like you don't want anything from my house. Like, I understand you. I may be doing the same as you, but the feeling is hard. And it's also hard. And I know how my husband feels when I'm like, if you have to stay in that room, I'm putting the stuff on the ironing board next to the room. Don't open the door, like it's until I pass by, or until this one passes by and that one passes by. So it's very uncomfortable and humbling, That's the experience. So anyway, we go on in the Maharal. We're just paraphrasing because some new people came in. We're learning about what is the healing of a plague. According to Maharal, he's talking about the plague of tzaraat, the plague of not leprosy, but more like psoriasis. And he's saying if a person is an Adam, that's how that a person that's important, then that's when the plague comes. But if he wants healing, he has to become basar. And we're talking about basar is the humbling, is the breaking. Basar, which means flesh. Like it's not even a person, it's like almost just like an animal, like nothing so very much. It's like you're totally breaking up and being vulnerable to, or like a lev basar, a heart of flesh, which is a feeling heart, a caring heart, like Rivka Tepitsky said so beautifully. And we're just finishing the Maharal. Sharon is reading us, so continue where I left you off, where I cut you off.
Furthermore, you need to know that all the plagues that come upon a person, they separate and divide them from a general community. The proof for that is that when a plague comes, it states, he shall dwell isolated, Vayikra.
But
However,
in Hebrew, that is, Vehu Badat Yoshev, like bidut, the same word, Badat bidut. So it makes a certain kind of isolation. Okay, continue. You're reading so beautifully.
However, when he considers himself like flesh alone, which is nothing unique, and he nullifies himself toward others, then he is not separated from the general community to say about him, he dwells isolated. For then the impurity departs from him. Only when he is worthy and arrogant and uplifted and separate from the community, that makes the plagues associate with him.
Okay, so just to explain a little bit, the sitting alone is really, it's a result of arrogance. I'm not saying that everyone who's in quarantine are arrogant, okay? My husband certainly is not. But just the whole concept of having that bidut, sitting alone. It's teaching us, like the whole world on a global level, maybe, you know, just like some tzaddikim, great people, have to atone for other people. And we are all, like the whole world, we have had a lot of arrogance. We have everything on our fingertips. We have an abundance. We're in a world in abundance. We have not, and when I've been translating my father's memoir, and today we just remembered him because it was just his second yahrzeit, and I was sharing some of it with my family. We had a Zoom family meeting. Hey, Shia. And then when see, like, that's not so long ago. It's less than 100 years ago. My father, right? It's only one generation before me. People had a lot of lack. People had to work very hard. They didn't know if they're gonna have food, if they're gonna have security. There was a lot of difficulties that was going on in my parents' generation. And our generation has been like such an overflow, and so much, it seems like everything is so, we have everything. And this is what it says in Dvarim, Vishman Yeshuan Rivat. Yeshuan grew fat and he kicked. And this is what I think globally has been going on. Science has made all this discovery. We think we know we can cure everything. We think we know everything. And really we see now that we don't. It's all breaking apart. It's all crumbling up. Like we're turning from Adam to Basar as a whole. And that's causes bidud. It causes everyone has to be alone. And for reflection, and also for reducing the arrogance and becoming a humbling experience. Now, what do you think? Anyone is welcome to say. You're all unmuted.
I was going to say that it feels to me like the earth is in a state of shmita, and us humans are in a state of nida.
That's interesting. Very interesting. The Shemitah, we're not doing anything, and we're like, interesting. It's beautiful what you're saying. Mamash. Yeah. That's another way of looking at it. Yeah, anyone else wants to comment? And we're almost finished reading the Maharal.
Yeah, I really like it.
I think it's important that how you mentioned about the whole world and medicine and everyone, thinking they can be on their own, but maybe they can become now a little bit more humble and realize that, man does not run the world. With as much technology we think we have, a science that we think we have, but it's still up to Hashem, and things can still happen to you. And so you need to, look into yourself and then come to realize that you have to depend on him.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's and the more humble we get, the more we have room for Hashem. And I think there is just one little paragraph left of the Maharal. Is that correct? So let's have Sharon finish that. Rabbi Asi said,
when a person is arrogant, literally unrefined and rude-spirited, in the end he will
in Hebrew, gasei ruach.
Gas ruach. In the end, he will become diminished. We have already explained this matter, that any extra addition is considered less. More is less. Therefore, Rab Asi said, in the end, he will be diminished. For the addition, which derives from arrogance, doesn't have any lasting existence, since it is only extra. Therefore, in the end, it will be diminished and lessened.
So in other words, arrogance, which seems to be more, there's more of us, that we're greater, we are higher, it actually takes away from the person and makes the person less, because that arrogance, that extra, doesn't stay. It's just that, it's like what we're working on now, getting rid of the chametz, the blown up thing. That's what we're trying to get rid of, and we want to be like the matzah. So in a way, we could say the chametz is like what Maharal calls Adam, just not always Adam, but the way Maharal uses the word Adam is like the chametz, and the basar is like the matzah, which is called the lechem aniyah, which one of the explanations is the humble bread, the bread of humility. So in a way, and when, we think that we have more, it's really less. And that's also what it says in is it Pirkei Avot? Marbe nechasim, marbe ta'aka. If we have more stuff, then we have more worry. So like we may have more, but we really have less. And so really less is more and more is less. and that is a really a good lesson for myself because I have a lot. Because I have, I said I want to redo my kitchen because I have so many kitchen cabinets all the way up, and I have so much stuff that I never use, that just because I have room in the cabinets. But if I diminish the kitchen cabinets, so I know I will have to get rid of things that I don't use, and I'll have less, and it will be better. I will have less things to clean every year for Pesach, for example. So no, I'm giving this as an example of more is less, and and we have to, and those people who every year move, and I know people like that. They, in a way, it's good because they always keep having less. They don't accumulate and accumulate. So it's less in the physical world. I mean, it's more in the physical world that we want to get rid of. It's more in the emotional world, and it's more in the spiritual world. That's the ego. That more is that ego. I think that's really what Maharal is addressing, is the ego of the Adam. When he says Adam, the way I look at it is it's referring to a person with his ego. Okay, I'm having okay, here. And when he says basar, that's a person without an ego. Go ahead, Sharon.
Thank you. No, I wanted to say that there's a famous architect, I can't think of his name, who has a saying, less is more.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying, basically.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't remember who said that, but it's a famous
saying. I'll look it up after, but I wanted to just say, I had a thought when you were mentioning, you said we have organic chickens and organic eggs. And I thought it's a little funny, like organic chickens, what makes them organic? And it gave me the thought that as Adam, we are what we are. But as Basar, we can actually refine ourselves and make ourselves organic if we eat a certain way and live a certain way. So it allows us to evolve.
That's interesting. I see what you're saying, Sharon. Basically, if I understood right, you're saying Adam is kind of like, it has its form already. It's finished. It's made. But Basar, it could be anything. We don't know what it is. It's like fluid. It doesn't have a form. And I think that's exactly up the alley of what Maharal speaks a lot about that. Tzura. That the Tzura is a form. And he is saying when the vessel breaks, it doesn't have a Tzura. That's when a healing takes place. And that leads us now. I'm gonna mute everybody because there's a little background. And when you want to speak, you just wave or you find the icon. There's an icon for talking if you want. But this is really interesting. This is what leads us to the next piece that I put on that paper that I did send out to everyone who I sent the invitation. You all have this handout, and if you didn't open it, except the Beirut students, that's really not fair. Okay, so I'll send it now to Shira. Okay, let's see, sent. Okay, I don't want to take too long here. It's because I forgot to apparently include you. Well, it's on your email, Shira. It's coming. Good Dema. It's coming now. Now it's sent. I don't have time to send to more as I'm talking. Okay, so you could share it. I sent it to your email, not to your WhatsApp. Okay, so now this also connects with what we learned. Some of us, some of you were with me when we learned about the blessing of for the trees, for the flowering fruit trees that we save in the months of Nisan, and those who haven't said it yet still can say it in the whole. It could be said in the months of Nisan, and we still have many days left. And what I was teaching there was that part of the blessing is shelo chisar ba'olamo klum, that we blessing Hashem that He did not lack in the world klum. What is klum? Klum means nothingness. Like He didn't lack nothingness in the world, meaning like He left some nothingness for us to fill. And because He wants us to be a partner in creation with Him. And so, and then I got, after that, an email from Sarah Judith Schneider, where she quotes the Komarna Rebbe, and that piece I copied and I translated it for you. And she talks about exactly what Sharon was saying, that now about the concept of filling a space that was never filled before, about being flexible, about, you know, her main thing that she was saying in her article is that what's happening now is everybody's out of our regular routine. We're not in a regular routine. So we have to make ourselves flexible to deal with what's now. And then that's what we're doing with the Zoom classes. And we're like, we have to just like change. We can't stay the same thing. We can't be, I can't remember how to say in English, the word in Hebrew is mutzag, like firm and, you know, kind of inflexible and rigid. That's how we have lived our lives until now. This new situation in the world is like forcing us to be completely fluid and unrigid. We have to be creative. We have to find new ways of dealing with everything. You know, I used to go to once a week to Esther Alfasi's yoga class. So it took a little while. I'm like, well, I'm not doing exercise. Finally, I got myself together to figure out to find some online yoga classes, some YouTubes, and figure out how to put the computer in a way that I could see it. It all took a long time for me because should it be on the floor, should it be on the table, should it be on the chair? How can I see it best? Like everything, like it's new. You have to like change things. And that's just one example. We're not in a routine. When we're in routine, like Hashem doesn't want us to worship Hashem through routine. Like that's called anshe, how's it go? Anshe melumada. That we mitzvot anshe melumada. We're not supposed to keep the mitzvot out of rote. Just like, oh, I have to do the mitzvah. My parent did it. I did it. You know, like that. Hashem doesn't want us to serve Him in that way. He wants Rachmana libabai. Hashem wants our heart. He wants us to be new with Him. Like the mitzvah should be new every day. Now everything is new. Everything is different, and we don't even know what's going to be. We don't know how long this is going to go on. Like, I don't know how to plan anything in advance. Like, I don't know what's going to be on Pesach, what's going to be after Pesach, how long this is going to take. Nobody knows. How long until, you know, the streets opens up and there's regular everything. Or I don't think there's ever going to be regular anything. That's the point. Like, nothing is going to be regular anymore. And that's like what Hashem is doing for us. He wants us to go out of our routine, to be open for newness, for renewedness, for true freedom. But in order to get that true freedom, we have to first be broken. So this is what we experience right now is the breaking, and it hurts, and some people even die, and it's scary. To be broken is really scary, and I'm very scared myself. I have to say, I'm working on myself. But it's not a joke, you know, it's not a joke. So my husband goes usually to work and works with sick people, and, you know, he can't be in quarantine all the time. And I don't know what's going to be, you know, it's scary. If I could, I would say everybody in my house, stay home, don't leave the house. That's the most safest thing. But I cannot say that. And so, as it does this brokenness of which includes fear in that brokenness, but after the brokenness becomes the rebuild, just like there was Shvirat HaKelim in Kabbalah, like the breakingness of the vessels. And then after that, what happened is the Olam HaTikkun, the world of rectification. And we're now at the end of that world of rectification, so there's another breaking until we can become renewed and new. And so this is what the Komarna Rebbe said. And I'm going to ask for another reader of who has the handout that I sent. And anyone can wave who want to read that, the Komarna Rebbe. You, Judy, yeah. And it's your birthday. Or at least I unmuted you, but you have to maybe also unmute yourself. Good.
Hi, I want to give everybody a blessing that they pay attention to all the reason that they came to this world, and do the best that they can to be the best that they can be.
Amen.
And I know it's really troubling times, but I'm really hopeful that we're going to come to a peak in this situation in maybe a few weeks. It's going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that, and we'll go back. But I really am excited to have a birthday now, and I'm 64 years old, and it's very exciting to get older. And one of the things I just say about getting older is that you get to let go of what doesn't work and hold on to what does. And so I give you a bracha that you do that and get older and take on transformations and do things that are good for you. And that I'll read. Where are we reading?
Wait, I just want to say
Mazel
that
tov,
Judy, you look so beaming and glowing, and you're so beautiful, and you look like 32, not 64.
Oh my God. This is, I feel like I'm 2/3 of the way. Please God, I have another 1/3 of my life left, and I'm very excited about getting older. So
that's beautiful. Wow, that's so unusual. You should have almost half lived, B'ezrat Hashem. Ad 120.
good too. That would be good too. If Hashem wants me, I'm ready to leave at 97, but if Hashem wants me to stay longer, I'm very happy to stay.
Yeah.
So I'd like to live at least to 97.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, so you have the piece. Shoshana, I sent it to you. Everyone who got the invitation got it. Okay.
Is it about our holy Rebbe Dev Bear?
Yes.
Okay, so the saying is in this is in the bottom of the bottom of the reading. About this holy Rebbe Dov Ber of Mezerich. Actually, we have a synagogue that's a Mezerich synagogue here, near to my house. This is the intention of the Zohar that reads, I can't read that, Akashatata Bekishanaton.
Okay, I'm just sending some links. There's a lot of people who want to get in who didn't get in.
Okay.
So sent. Okay, hold on. So I'm gonna help you now. Okay. Okay, what does it say? It's hold on. It's here. It says Et kasheret bekitshutin de lo have. I'm sorry, I did not transliterate that.
Et kasheret bekishatim
De lo have. This means I will be I will be decorated with decoration or with ornaments that never was. Okay? It kashet. I'm gonna fix it. Okay, so it's gonna explain it.
The Shekhinah is bedecked in ornaments that have never been in the world before. Torah and mitzvot are jewels and ornaments that have already been in the world. They are standardized and codified. But when a person engages in worldly matters and remains connected with Hashem, they are bedecking the Shekhinah with jewels that have never been in the world before. For that configuration of circumstances has never happened exactly so previously. And this is the Hashov. I don't know how to say it. What Hashov Itra. This, and even more important.
Chashuv yoter.
Yeah,
More
sorry.
important.
Hashuv yoter.
I'm sorry, I'm so busy sending links to people. I'm so sorry.
And check the comments, Chana Bracha.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do that. Okay, I just sent to 4 more people the links. Sorry, for some reason they didn't get it. Okay, yes, you, okay. Okay, so, okay, so let's talk about the text. Okay, okay. What is it talking about? What does the Shekhinah want? What is going on now? The Shekhinah wants to be decorated. Torah and mitzvot is a way that we decorate, or we make ornaments for the Shekhinah. But there is something new that's even greater than was before. There are the kind of ornaments that we give to the Shekhinah that already was in the world, and then there's the kind that never were in the world before. Okay, and what are the ornaments that never were in the world before? This is what Sarah Yudit says. This is what we're called upon now to use these new kind of ornaments, like a renewal. It's good to do Torah and Mitzvah and read more Tehillim and increase in all of that, for sure. But there's also something else that is a new way of serving Hashem that wasn't, that's the decoration of the Shekhinah that never was before. And this is what's happening now. What are those things? And in the footnote, it's kind of, it explains it more. It says, it is doing things in the physical world with the same holy intention on Hashem as if the person would be praying or learning Torah. That's what he says. You see that in the footnote there? Maybe we will read it. Read it a little bit.
It says, because when a person engages in worldly matters and remains connected with Hashem, they are bedecking the Shekhinah with jewels that have never been before in the world.
Right, because the things that's now in the physical world was never in the world before. It's something new, and it's a new way of serving Hashem. And I give you an example. I was sharing this teaching with my family at the Shabbat table, and I told my son, who Baruch Hashem loves to learn and to pray, and I told him, and that is really good what you're doing, but these are the way to decorate the Shekhinah that it's always been decorated. But now there's something new you have to do. Remember, I told him, but never mind. You called your grandmother, my mother, who's alone in Denmark, and you had a nice conversation with her on the phone. And that could be a way to decorate the Shekhinah that is even greater to some extent than what you've done until now. It's another way of serving Hashem, that you care. This is a widow, my mother, and she's alone, and how happy, and she can't go to bridge, she can't go to fitness. It hits the older people the hardest, because people who are used to having the social network to keep them going, and that are not all the old people are so Zoom savvy, like that the younger people are. So we have a new challenge. We have new opportunities that we didn't think about before. How to serve Hashem, because everything is changing. And we have to be flexible and fill that space and see Hashem within this new situation, whatever it is. And that's how Yudit says, that's compared to the Ketoret. The Ketoret is the incense that stopped the plague. And by the way, I forgot to say it today, but I wanted to say every day the Ketoret, something the men do. They say it twice a day, before Shacharit, before Mincha, Pitom HaKetoret. It's in page 82 in the Chabad Siddur. I found it. It's really short. Shoo! It's just like, it takes me 2 minutes to say it. Maybe someone who is less familiar with Hebrew will take 5 minutes, even, but not that long. It's really, really short. It's like one paragraph. And it describes all the different spices that were in the incense. And we know when there was a plague in Israel after the revolt of Korach, the angel of death told its secret to Aaron, and he gave all the secret to Aaron about the Ketoret. And then it said Aaron stood between the Metim v'Chaim v'Metim, between the alive and the dead, and he stopped the plague with the incense. And so we don't have incense today. We don't yet have a temple, so we don't have the incense, but we have the concept of the incense. And she said, this is, if I remember correctly, what she says, that through the incense, through the chotem, the nostril, there's access to, it's the lowest one of the 6 or 7 altered consciousness states of like the heads of the brain, that you can receive an altered consciousness. And it starts with the nose, and then it goes into all the brain centers. So when Aharon did the incense, and the incense will also enter into his nostril, he came to a place of altered consciousness, of dveikut, complete dveikut, cleaving with Hashem, that no other human being had ever been on this planet, ever before. And that's when he got to that place. From that place, that's the same place where also people can, where the dead can be revived. It's a place between the life and the dead. That's where, the person is in Dveikut. He's almost leaving his body. So he himself is like, he's going to the uttermost expanse of how far a person can be within his body. And so he's really standing between the alive and the dead. And so he could stop the plague because he has the secret that turns the dead to life. And so it's really very exciting. She says, this is makes a special scent for Hashem, but it's different from the scent that animal sacrifices make. Because animal sacrifice, says Sayedid, that is something that we do what Hashem commanded us, and Hashem gets nachat ruach, reach nichoch, nachat ruach. It means he's pleased that we fulfilled his will. And when an animal is being sacrificed, there's nothing for the one who sacrifices the animal. Like the animal goes up completely to God. It's complete sacrifice. It's nothing for us. But with the ketoret, with the incense, it's a shared experience between us and God. Like humanity also enjoys the amazing fragrance of the incense, and Hashem also enjoys that incense. It's not something we give up for Hashem. It's something we share with Hashem. And this is what she said. That's the difference, and this corresponds to Ruach HaKodesh, whereas animal sacrifice corresponds to Nevuah. Ruach HaKodesh means divine inspiration. That's something a person can have while the person is within his body. Whereas prophecy, except for Moshe, every prophet had kind of like went beyond his body to have prophecy. And the body would faint or shake or being like, like he would look crazy. But Ruach HaKodesh is something a person can be in a normal state and have this intuition of a divine inspiration. And so that's like a shared experience with Hashem, whereas prophecy is like the person becomes nullified and it's only Hashem. There's only Hashem there speaking through him, but there's no person. He's just like completely nullified. And then he wakes up and then he comes back to himself and then he has to translate his prophecy. But in Ruach HaKodesh, he's never nullified. So that corresponds to the Ketoret, that even we enjoy it too. It's not nullified from us, like the sacrifice is nullified. We don't get any of it. Are you with me in this? It's kind of a profound concept. Are you with me in this?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So it was very beautiful. This is how she explained it. And so that's what we have to learn for today. We don't have today Ketoet, but we can learn a lesson of the Ketoet. And a lesson of the Ketoet, the lesson, and live not just learn it, but try to live that lesson. And living the lesson of the Ketoet, what is that all about? And this is like what we said in the Komarna Rebbe. It is about a newness of serving Hashem in a new way, of serving Hashem within the physical world, not beyond the physical world, not only with Torah and prayer, but even in the physical world. That's the newness. That's and this is part of what she believes is the teaching of the Ketoet that we need to take for this time of these changing times. So wow, it's already almost 8 o'clock. Now I take comments and questions and insights, anything you want to share. I'm going to unmute all of you. Anyone? Hello. Ella, do you want to say something? Everybody's quiet. It's something to digest. We have a nice group from Indonesia, to Abaja Levana, and where's Tikva? I saw her before. She disappeared. Where's Tikva? I don't see
Here,
her.
Rebbe.
Here you are. Oh, okay. Just your photo went away. And even your eyes just. Oh no, here you are. Yeah. Okay.
Chana Bracha, did you see where I wrote about pronouncing quarantine and about mutzag on the comments?
Okay. Mutzag means visible, displayed. Okay. Mutzag means something that's hard and rigid and unflexible. Like, for example, the difference between ice, that's mutzag, and water, which is fluid. Ice is mutzag. And you're teaching me how to pronounce quarantine? Is that what it is for? Or is it to...
Yeah, I'm showing the pronunciation.
Quarantine.
That's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, does anyone have anything to share, any inspiring word or any question about what we just learned, something that's not clear? Hadassah, you came up here. You want to say hello? You want to put on your camera? Or you have any?
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought the meeting started at 1 our time, so.
That was last week.
I'm late, but I'm here. Nice to see you all.
And it looks like you're doing better?
I'm actually quite sick today.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Well, we wish you the first shlema.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Devorah Bat Hadassah.
Right. I should have written, well, why don't I rename myself now? That would be a good step.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Devorah is your name.
Yeah.
Devorah Bas what?
Hadassah. And my daughter is Hadassah Bat Devorah. So
wow, that's beautiful.
she was named for my mom, who passed away.
Oh.
Unfortunately.
So, Esther Sa, I see you're here. You always have wise words to share. Let's have you share something with us.
Okay. This is really a reflection on the Maharal and on the distinction of flesh from Adam, which has been beautifully stated from all of you. But I'm going to suggest that in some respects, it may be easier to, or maybe not, but some of you may reflect that it's easier to think of it in terms of us just simply letting go of any misapprehension we may have that we have control over our circumstances or what is to come in the next moment. In a way, I find troubling the description of arrogance, although I understand that could be a term. But listening to most of us on this call, I wouldn't describe any of us as being particularly arrogant, which has such negative connotations. We may describe others as that, but maybe not ourselves. But if you think of it in terms of accepting and believing that somehow we have a way out of a difficulty on our own, and not taking into account that Hashem is totally and completely in charge. This is what's happening now with this pandemic, is that Hashem is, for the whole world, taking the rugs out from under us.
Yes.
Nobody has a real answer for this at this point. And all of our assumptions about socialization, about politics, about everything, it's all being scrambled. And in the middle of all of this, we are blessed. Each and every one of us are blessed with the knowledge that Hashem loves us, and Hashem protects us, and that Hashem, who has always been good to us, has a plan that this is fitting into. And maybe some of us think we see what that plan is, but I'm sure he has surprises in store for all of us. And it's good. And the more that we can cling to that and let go of the layers of fear, the safer each of us will be. The Arizal brings forth that fear is what attracts the plague. If the more that we can hold to Hashem's overwhelming, beyond belief love for each one of us, the more we have those face masks and gloves and protective clothing at the spiritual level, which is what we truly need. So my bracha for all of you is, and for myself, is that Hashem continue to open our hearts, to break them open as necessary, to let more and more of his love come in, and so that we are more and more aware of it throughout our entire bodies and systems. Anyway, thank you, Hannah Bracha, for letting me share that.
That was so beautiful, Mamash. I knew it was going to be. And I don't think it's really at variance with the message I'm trying to give across. Just you're expressing it in such a succinct and clear and immunetic way. But what I mean when I say arrogance is not necessarily us as arrogant. It's like we think we have an earth under our feet. That's a certain kind of arrogance. But like you said, the earth is crumbling under our feet. It's like that's the humbling experience that we don't, there's all different levels of arrogance. It's not necessarily the arrogance understood as like have the noses up high, but just feeling that we know it and that we know what's going to be. That's in itself what Maharal is talking about. Let go of that. Like it's let go of that, because we don't know anything. And we're like, we have to just be like broken, like a basar. And I also think now that you talked about the fear being the thing that attracts plagues, I was just thinking, from my own experience, because I was always a quite fearful person, unfortunately. I'm working on it very much, that the fear is actually connected to the ego. How is that? Because the fear is like, I want to hold on to this thing that I want to hold on to. Like, I want to hold on to me. I don't want to die. Like, I'm afraid
Sure.
I want to hold on to me. But and that's a certain, not arrogance in the way we usually understand the word arrogance, but it's a certain feeling of like ego of me. I want to survive. That's the ego, is also the survival instinct. And so
Sure.
a person who's truly has emunah is like, Hashem, wherever you take me, I want to live, but if that's not meant to be, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with that. And that's something that people usually get when they become older and wiser. Like Judy it seems to have a certain shleimut, a certain perfection in that aspect of like, Hashem, I hope this and that, but like whatever. And I want to tell you that I spoke to my mom like when we began this my husband's quarantine, and and
Very good.
and then my mom, who's not even religious, but she's 84 years old, and you could see like why you have to respect people who are older. And she said, and I'm really afraid to die, and I still am, because I still have this ego, but I'm working on it. And so she said to me, but like, hopefully you won't get it, and if you get it, hopefully you will heal from it, because a lot of people heal. But if you die, everybody has to die. She told me that, my secular mom. She gave me so much chizuk. She strengthened me so much. I'm not used
Beautiful.
to that. And I thought, wow, this is something people get when they're older, because they know they're closer to death. And they know that, it could happen any day. And they open themselves to allow that. And now Hashem wants to mature us without being older at age. He wants to give us that feeling like it could happen any day, and we just have to be like a person who has that wisdom of age, even when we're young, to be like whatever Hashem wants. And that's letting go of that ego. Like, I'm willing to disintegrate if that's what Hashem wants. Like, there's a world to come. We know that ultimately it's going to be for the good. But, it's like a birth. So, there's some things that hurts and that breaks. But ultimately, there's going to be a baby. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody. It was really nice being with you, and we'll stay tuned. We're trying to be flexible and creative and fill the space. And
Can I just add?
Hashem, after Pesach, we're going to have a little online school. We're starting like an online school, Beirut Bat Ain, an online community. Hopefully, Ruth Esther's helping with that. If anyone has any experience with that and wants to help, please email me. And
that's actually there's a program that I'm looking into that will give me a master's degree in online education. So it's an education master's degree, and it's very important. As you can see, we must congregate online. So
if you have any insights for that and you want to share it with us, so email me about it, and I'll forward to Ruth Esther and get you in touch with Ruth Esther.
Okay.
And so we're going to have some kind of online community where
I would definitely join that.
We're going to have some classes. I'm going to teach, besides the Emunah healing, I'm going to teach Megillat Ruth, and there's going to be halacha classes, and there's also going to be other amazing classes in this online program. And we need all of you to help spread the word so that we can have a really nice group dynamic online school here, and also can help support the school to some degree. Everyone at whatever level they're able to. Chag Pesach Kasher Sameach. Let us stay strong. Let us stay immune. Let us stay in Emunah. Let us really, B'ezrat Hashem, be healthy and happy. And we'll meet again after Pesach,
Amen.
if not before. It's really nice to seeing all of you. It was wonderful being with you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for participating, and thank you for your amazing comments. And we'll be in touch. All the best. Bye-bye.
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 Thanks for
Bye.
meeting.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Love to all.
Love to
Safety.
all.